else will.
Right.
No one else will be making it.
We'll get started with updates.
Might be a short session.
Yeah.
So Lisa, I'm going to turn the volume up as loud as it'll go.
Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, Tanya let me know that she'll step down as her schedule's just not going to allow her to attend the meetings. And I exchanged a couple of emails with Colleen,
Mhm.
and she was hoping that with any staff member in her department, at the store where she works, that she would her schedule a little bit more. and
Okay.
she'd be able to attend more.
Okay.
So we were going to see how it goes the next month or so.
Okay. Have we had any applicants?
We have not had any.
Okay.
What about the people that have been
I
super
know.
interested?
I know, and it's
Very-
fun. We've all talked to a couple of people, Michelle and
Yeah.
I talked to on the phone once or twice. I can't remember his names, and one or two people I think that you guys had mentioned. I
Yeah.
was assuming that at least one or two
Yeah.
applications would have come through.
She still hasn't put it in.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'll post on Nextdoor again or something.
Sounds good.
So like you guys know, we post these e-blasts.
Yeah.
On our website. It's been on the homepage of our website for a while.
Mhm.
This e-blast that we put out, we'll continue to put out. I have it on my schedule to do every week or every other week maybe. It's one of the emails that we'll send out that people will reply to and say,
Mhm.
please stop emailing this so much. You do not want to get your e-blasts anymore. So it's a little bit of a,
Yeah.
bit of a balance.
Yeah.
So, are we waiting, or
I think we're
You can go ahead and get started.
We can go
gavel
ahead
us
and
in.
get started, yeah.
Unofficially.
Can I just make a comment? Can I just say something before you start the meeting?
Oh.
On that subject? I had a conversation with, I know him like I know him, with, in Parks and Rec.
Patrick?
No,
Katie.
Patrick, but I mean, huh?
Rick.
No, from Kevin.
Kevin,
I'm
uh-huh.
sorry, just do one. And I asked him what he's doing now, and I mean, I knew he was with the town, but what he was working on, so he was work with volunteers, and then I asked him, and then that led to a conversation that the town is hiring someone else for volunteers, as a new position for volunteers.
No, it's a position
Is it the same
serve as a
position?
No, it's a committee coordinator position to support
Okay,
a half
so
dozen committees.
my question is between staff you have working on volunteers and this new committee coordinator, can't they play an active role in recruiting for the committees?
That is one of the, thinking back to our budget process, when we went through kind of our, you've been part of our budget process, when the board goes through all the detail and we made our presentations to request additional FTEs this year, there were two that were approved. One is a management analyst that just started in our office this week, and then the second is the position that Jim's referring to, a committee coordinator in the Parks Rec Open Space Department. And one of the central tenets, the central roles of that position is going to be recruitment and doing some of the, it's not introduction, but more like orientation, and doing a more formal processing of new committee appointments. Because well, you guys are familiar with the process now. You hear about it, and sometimes folks talk to me, sometimes they don't, and they'll submit. And whoever serves as the staff liaison offers to share some opinion, or they'll talk to a chair of the group, like Essie's done in the past, and Jim, you've done in the past from the committees that you've served on. And that's kind of the orientation, and you just kind of hit the ground running. So being more purposeful and having a more structured outreach and recruitment practice, and a better way of kind of onboarding people for our committees has been something that has been a priority for our board, and that was one of the reasons for that position to be installed. So some overlap, yes, because they're volunteers, but the program element that's associated with Kevin's work is separate from what the board manager's expectation is for the committee coordinator.
Okay, well, I never understood that from the very beginning of that position. I guess whoever started it, Katie, whatever. But nothing against Katie, but that was never part of her job. I never understood that.
Katie?
But anyway, who was the first one when they first started that volunteer position?
Oh, when it was approved as a part-time position was, well, that's horrible that her name slips from my mind.
I thought Katie.
Tori. Tori was the
No,
original
well, I was
part-time.
way before Tori. When that position started. Anyway, but that's what's needed. You need to have somebody really focused on it, because it just doesn't work to leave it to the committee chairs.
And me.
It doesn't work. You've got to have somebody that they have to talk it up. They have to make sure the event is successful, and this is what Louisville and Lafayette and the other towns do. They
Mhm.
really focus on it.
And that,
And
so, I mean,
glad to see you.
I'm agreeing with you, because that's
I know you-
absolutely, I think, part and parcel of what I think the manager and board talked about in improving that position, which was to have an active outreach, that's not as reactive, which is essentially the posture I'm in all the time, which is to be reactive rather than
Right.
going out and proactively trying to
Yeah.
recruit people or finding new ways to get the word out and do what some of the other jurisdictions do
Wow.
to interface with applicants or potential pools of applicants, or just to do more outreach in general.
The idea
Because
was to
us
have
sending
people-
out e-blasts repeatedly.
Yeah,
is not
and
it.
maybe we can be a little more, use the Arbor Day event, have some more information about like what our committee is doing, as well as
Yeah.
the like informational flyers. So, see if we can find some more lucky
Yep.
citizens.
Someday we'll have quorum again.
Yes.
It is an odd kind of juxtaposition, because we've all talked to folks who are interested in
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, it's weird that there
And
seems
there's
to
not
be
a
plenty of
topic,
people to
I mean,
fill the gaps.
everybody's interested in building or development or parks or
Yeah.
open space. And, we do a lot of things that a lot of people are interested in, but sustainability and kind of lifestyle choices that are more sustainable, or at least talking about those things, is something that everybody,
Yeah.
even the folks who aren't interested in development or aren't interested in parks, everybody
Mhm.
pays attention to where waste goes. And it's just one of those common denominator things.
Yep.
Yep.
Tie a little application message on each light bulb.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's not a bad idea.
Please join us.
Put a little sticker on them that
Yep.
says, "Join our team."
Oh, that is a good idea.
Maybe we'll
So-
only give them out for free if people fill out
Yeah,
applications too.
you can have a light
Volunteer.
bulb if you give me your name and address.
Yep.
That would be fun.
Right, exactly.
Bonus light bulbs if you fill out an application.
Or if the flyer, did you have a chance? I'm sorry, I didn't think to ask you
The
before the
flyer
meeting.
is really close. I
Okay.
was hoping to finish up today, but then I got
You were
pulled into
thinking a
bunch of
half
meetings.
sheet, maybe? Were you-
I was thinking of a smaller one might be
Smaller?
good. The previous one we had was really text heavy, the more I was looking at, so there's lots of good information, but it's hard to actually read any one thing on it because it's just so full of stuff. So I was hoping to have kind of a really general overview of just like, here's our main focus, and here's some of the cool things that we do throughout the year, and just kind of leave it at that. And say, go check out the Town Superior website for more information.
It's always good to leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
So that would be a
I'd
good
have it
handout at, like you mentioned, have that at
Yeah.
Arbor Day and have that as a handout at the events with whatever the giveaway item is. If it's gonna be light bulbs, I
Yeah.
have on my list for next month to get light bulbs for Arbor
Okay.
Day. And then hand those out simultaneously.
Cool.
Or get
Yep.
names and emails, and you can send people threatening emails.
If all else
Uh,
fails.
yeah.
Don't let sustainability go.
Yeah.
Right, sustainable conversion.
Okay. So.
All right, should we officially get started?
Sure, yeah, with the two members here, we can have an update session.
Or unofficially, since we have.
So the, switch down a bit. Jim, did you have any public comment?
Just a quick comment, yeah.
Mhm.
Jim Payne, Superior resident, Rock Creek HOA. I had some comments, in fact, from one of the trustees, and I noticed it myself, that during last Monday's wind event, where town got the notice out, we got a notice out on Sunday night. And I could see a lot of people holding back the trash. I went out there and people didn't just put it out, and walk away. They were waiting. And I got a call from one of the trustees who's had a lot of problems on the street with this in the past, saying that this time people were holding back and taking a little bit more precaution. So some indication that maybe the message is getting through.
Give us a couple of years eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seeps in a little bit. No, that's an item that this group was involved in a year or two ago, working with Jim and the HOA to get that message out, and that's been great. So least it's one of those things that becomes kind of top of mind after you see it 3 or 4 times, hopefully. But yeah, it was great to see that. I saw that
Yeah.
a little bit in original town for sure, and then I remember driving down Indiana and a couple neighborhoods over there and saw something similar. It was good to see.
You need to send it to my neighborhood.
Yeah. We just didn't put our trash out at all.
We did and then pulled it back.
Yeah.
Yep. Hit it in the side yard.
It was bad.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll just go quickly through the agenda items that we had tonight. So the newsletter items, a lot of the recurring items, the household hazardous waste and hard to recycle event scheduled for next month. That's a calendar item also on the agenda, but the information's gone out. Arbor Day also on your event calendar for next month. The following weekend on the 21st. And then I can't remember if I think I mentioned this last month because it had just been approved by the county, having a prescription drug take-back day on Saturday the 28th would be great. And then, as you mentioned last month, the spring efficiency rebate program, and it's part of our regular
Awesome.
outreach for starting this month. Burn in a box, potholes, and then transit. Transit's always been a focus of this group, and so we continue to have the recurring message there. And then the note regarding the vacancies on all of the committees that have vacancies. It's not just ACES that has some vacancies. There's also 3 on OSAC, the Open Space Committee, and also 2 on the Parks Committee. And then it was a couple of program items, and then a reminder about windy trash days. This was a message from the fire, from Chief Michelle Kelly, who puts together some information for us to put in the newsletter. She had a note about patio furniture and other items that can become projectiles in the wind. The Energy Smart Solar Grant that we talked a little bit about last month is in this month, and also the Spring into Cycling Commuting Solution does a great job promoting the year-round options for folks to commute. And then our quarterly focus, or we have a different item that we focus on every month for the environmental items, whether it's bulk item or sharps drop-off. This month it's the paint care program, so that has a more prominent
Can you
position.
stop there, can I ask? I just want to see something. This came up with me and I wasn't sure. My understanding, so the way this works is that a tax or a fee is added to your paint purchase. Let's say at Lowe's
Mhm.
or Home
Yeah, it
Depot.
was
But then all you
legislative
have to
change.
do is drop it off. They
Mhm.
just assume, they don't match it up with your receipts or purchase or anything. It's
No.
just,
It's
is
in-
that correct?
It is. So if you click on the link, there's some background about the paint care program. That was a legislative change from a couple of years ago, and I think some of the detail is in this. But it is not a one-to-one, but there is a fee.
So let's say you have 5 cans of paint, various remains from years ago, and you don't put it in the trash, you
Mhm.
bring
Yeah,
it
take
in,
it
but
to-
you can bring in anything. The assumption is that it all works out in the end?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everybody pays for it when they buy paint, then whenever you drop it off, you've nominally already paid your fee for that disposal.
Right.
I think is
Yeah.
how the legislation is written.
Good. And is this up, this newsletter out now? Is this
Yeah.
one?
Uh-huh, this is the
It's
one that
now,
went out
so
last
I'm
week.
gonna put that in the HOA.
Yeah, and there's some great links. The folks who've done this, we were, I want to say like the 10th or 12th state to approve this, so it had already become it was already well-developed by the time our legislature took this up 2 years or 3 years ago now, July of 15. 159 sites in Colorado.
And ours is Charm or?
No, I think it's at the, I can't remember if it's
Home Depot.
Home Depot or Lowe's or both.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah, you can do Sherwin-Williams, Jack's, Diamond Bogle. Yeah, there's a
Because
lot.
they told me at Home Depot that that's not what they told me. They told me don't drop it off there, you have to take it to.
Well, it looks like they have it in Boulder, and they have a Sherwin-Williams at Jackson Lafayette, so it looks like in this general vicinity.
There's quite
paint
a few.
stores and Ace Hardware, Gyrie's. So it's paint stores and maybe
Huh.
Just not, well, it's basically looks like all the paint places you would go if you didn't go to Lowe's or Home Depot.
But not Homes,
But not Home Depot or
Yeah.
Home Depot or Lowe's.
So Guy Reeves, Ace.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Sherwin-Williams.
Just this-
And Jack's. That's interesting that it's Jack's.
Oh, and Shaw, and the hazardous materials.
Including
Okay.
including the Charm facility, or the HMM facility.
So Home Depot and Lowe's don't wanna send you to the other stores, so they send you to the.
Sneaky.
Wonder why they-
Yeah, it's interesting. The Ace Hardware stores do it, and the paint shops do it.
It's like everybody except.
And Jack's.
Okay, good, thanks.
Lost my train of thought. All right, so
All
going
right,
back to the
newsletter.
newsletter. So paint care program was the focus item this month, and then the ongoing items on yard waste, and the windy trash days, timely, the bulk discard options, the do-gooder, starring our own Ashley, and the household hazardous wastes, medical. So those are the items in the newsletter.
Okay.
And then calendar. So in this month's newsletter, there is save the date items for the household hazardous waste event next month, and also Arbor Day. The group last month talked about the circulation during the household hazardous waste and hard to recycle event.
Mhm.
So Shannon on our staff that coordinates with the county and with the folks at Charm to help us host this, started working on a flyer
Okay.
that has
Nice.
a traffic flow map on it, and then a list of what is accepted and not accepted. And this is not yet finalized for the list of what's accepted. The questions that I think you guys are familiar with from the last year or so that you've seen, I think Michelle and Lisa and I talk about in relation to previous years about what's accepted and not accepted.
Mhm.
I guess the correlation is volume. The folks that host this, that there are some things that I've always wondered, and you've heard us chat about, we've all chatted about, is we know they take something at Charm, I think we know that they take something at the HMM facility, and then somebody could show up at our event and then they don't take it. It really comes down to how a particular item, I don't have all the final details, but my early kind of understanding is that if something's especially bulky, like the item that I had struggled with trying to figure out last year, dropping off a fairly straightforward appliance, a garage door opener, which is more than 80% metal, not being allowed to. Turns out it's because of the size. They just can't take that much volume.
Mm.
So it's, I understand where they're coming from, that if 50 people all showed up with something that was especially bulky, then they wouldn't have the room to put it on their semi. I understand that. So there is a little bit of, I don't know what the word is. It's not disconnect, but the idea that it's something that you could take to their regular facility, you can't necessarily take when they do an offsite event, is,
Gotcha.
I'm trying to find a smart way to, I don't know how to convey that. And I'm just like, right now I'm struggling trying to convey it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
So-
something we,
So, but this list is for the event, not?
Yes.
This is for the event?
yes.
So why don't you just put on there, not all,
Yeah, so I think like if we can designate like items over X size are not accepted, that might be
Yeah.
a good way to
So that's
say to
what
people, like if we
we're
can.
trying to finalize
Yeah.
that. Kind of get our hands around what the exceptions are. There is a conference this week that a number of the folks that would be able to give us this information are at, and we haven't been able to finalize it yet. So between now
can't
and
you just put a
next month.
statement on that it's not all items that are accepted?
Oh, we'll have that for sure, but
Yeah.
I want to have at least a definition of what.
Not all
I just-
means.
We're trying to be as specific as possible on why it's a no, not just, oh, we don't like barbecues.
Yeah,
because
and I
there's
think
a-
especially because if you have people driving to the school and then they get in the line and realize, and so they're like blocking up traffic because you're trying to discuss why something is or isn't accepted, it'd be better to know
Mhm.
in advance, or at least be like, oh, this is really bulky,
Yes.
I should probably take it to the.
And having done this so many years now, you just get tired. My voice goes out just because I'm not a talker to start with, and to say the same 6 or 7 sentences over and over again. Yeah, it's just draining.
For the HOA newsletter, which is going out soon, how can we handle this? Or will it be, can we refer them to the website, or will it, how can we get that
hopefully when we get confirmation, it should be by the first part of next week. When's the HOA newsletter going out?
Sometime next week.
Oh, we should have it by hopefully Monday or Tuesday. So I can leave myself a note to send you the updated version of this.
Great. Or if it's a link, that's best, because then if you make changes or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have it in the upcoming e-blasts on this. But if you don't see it before you put the newsletter, or before the HOA newsletter is distributed, let me know. I'll get it to you. I'm about 85–90% on the things that I write down to remember to do for you. But Jim reminds me though. All right, so flyer to Jim for the HOA newsletter. So like you can tell in the diagram, and we talked a little bit about, and Michelle gave you all some insight, the site, if you haven't been over to the El Dorado K-8 parking lot, the school district shut that area down last year and reconfigured the parking lot. So there's now no longer the option to drive all the way across the front door. It's a way of controlling traffic that made sense for the school. And they're still gracious enough to allow us to use their facility to host this event, so we're going to try and accommodate the traffic flow. So you can see the entry point on the northern side at the end of Mount Sopris. People come in, and what happened in the past is where you see the striped entry road. There would be one line of traffic to go there, and then one line of traffic to go toward the household materials management side, which had traditionally been on the other side. So the idea this year is to have a red dot being a person, one of us, to help. Number one, we'll share this map and the list of what's accepted and not accepted, for the most part, and then help people decide which line they want to be in. So go to their right or our left, looking down on this map if they're going to the household management site, or both. And then if they're just interested in dropping off something at the EcoCycle, I don't know what color that is, blue or yellow, green?
Green.
Green, going along the east side of the parking lot to go straight to the EcoCycle side, and then drop off there. So if you're only dropping off one thing, you go straight to that line. If you're dropping off both, you can start on the HMM line. But if the EcoCycle line is particularly long, some people will skip one to go to the second one and then come back to the first one. So some of it just depends on traffic flow. It's just always a really popular event. And sometimes it does get backed up. So we're going to try and be a little bit more proactive at trying to split up the traffic, and then also give folks an indication of what's accepted so that they don't wait in line and then find out when they spend the 10 or 15 minutes to drop something off that they were told no, which I absolutely understand. We'll try and get as good information as we can.
And our next meeting is the 12th, so the Thursday before that, so we can finalize, make sure we all have the information we need before that day. And I think I can volunteer to be there that day.
Thanks.
Oh, good. So I had noted last month, potentially Lisa and potentially Caitlin.
Yes, you can get rid of potentially for me. I won't volunteer Lisa.
So which day is it again?
April 14th from 9 to noon.
I'm just rechecking, I would sign up to Harris thing, but I need to check my calendar, so I'll check while you're talking.
Okay. April 14th.
Go ahead, I reboot my computer.
Okay.
And then the following weekend, if there aren't any other questions on that for now, like you mentioned, Caitlin, we can come back and talk about that more next month. The second event, Arbor Day, 21st. So I had a note from the discussion last month to purchase the 100 light bulbs as a giveaway, and then potentially have the handout that Ezzy's working on as a corollary item, second item to hand out with it, introducing the group and then inviting folks, if they're interested in this committee, to come learn more about it, attend a meeting, or potentially apply. And then also I had Caitlin, you have the box?
I
don't
do.
remember
The
why
box.
I wrote Caitlin in a box in question mark.
Yes. I have the box.
You have the box?
The box is organized, and some materials that were out of date, which, so the Waste Connection recycling, like we talked about last month, isn't updated to reflect EcoCycle. And so like the flyer we have out here in the hallway isn't correct for what EcoCycle takes. And
What were the inconsistencies? I don't remember what the
so
difference
there's
was.
quite a few differences now, like plastic tops, bottle tops, and a few other like additional plastic items that they take.
That EcoCycle takes?
Yes.
Okay, so
That-
this is over and above what Waste Connections
Yes.
takes, okay?
So like our current flyer about like what you can and can't recycle is limited from what we actually can recycle. So the EcoCycle, I think somebody had dropped off some of their 2018 flyers last month, and that has their updated guidelines on what they take for recycling. But
So
yep, that one.
this is, what we're using, and this is on, you know, you can just click and go right to this online.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're just going to rely on their materials and the online link rather than get involved in
Yeah.
trying to keep up.
So
with
that's
it.
what I think is we just need to get more. We have like 10 of those in the box now, but need to get more of those from EcoCycle and probably get rid of the,
This is very well done.
replace the items that we have in the hallway here.
Could that be, is there a list in there that's 1 page or 2 page front back? that could
Um,
be used, or is it?
I don't think
The
that's.
recycling one is it could be a front back. It's a 2-page spread. That page. So it could be a back and front, and be put onto one.
Thank you. Okay, so,
And it's,
this is Boulder
This is
County.
Lisa.
Yes, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
The 14th I'm booked, but the 21st not available, and then the 28th I'm not available.
Okay, so we could put you down for Arbor Day, but not the hard to recycle.
Thanks.
Sadly, it looks like that's the
Is
case.
this online?
Okie doke.
So I can just take these 2 pages.
Thanks.
It's online, the whole thing is, as it is here, it's on, same thing is online.
Okay, so I guess, so
That's.
bringing this full circle.
Yeah.
So for the meeting next month on the 12th, I'll print off a couple hundred of those, just
Okay.
that sheet on the recycle,
Okay.
cycling, what's collected for recycling, for EcoCycle that Waste Connections uses as a pass-through to EcoCycle.
Yeah.
For their contract here, serving both the town and the HOA's waste customers. That'll be the handout. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah, and so we'll want to also replace the document that is here at the town hall building.
The other advantage of doing work, doing that way is that assures that the town and the HOA are on the same, giving out the same information.
Mhm.
Yep.
That would really,
Yeah, that'd be awful.
Yeah, we try to avoid that, but it's just something that's always something to be vigilant of.
Also, Lisa said she can attend Arbor Day,
Mhm.
so we can put that in the notes as well.
All right, so Caitlin for HHW.
So yes, in general, the box is organized, and some extra materials that were out of date were removed.
Thanks.
So we have lighting stuff to go with the light bulbs.
Excellent.
It's easy to find. They're in yellow folders. So, but yeah, I'll make sure to bring that to the next meeting. And then whoever's going to be at Arbor Day can make sure to have it.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Hey, don't ask how I told this work.
Huh?
Sorry, what did you say?
Don't ask how I told this work.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
All the water stuff is in blue folders.
Nice.
So.
All my folks are in green for my, yeah.
any more another comment on the events? Are you done with this?
I'm done with what I need to do. Feel free.
Have anything?
Okay,
So if you wanna, yeah.
This is just a FYI, because we got contacted by a company in Louisville called Rubbish Works. And he was interested in curbside pickup. You know, he knew we'd had a program, and he understood that people were asking about it.
For compost?
No,
Or-
just for large item.
Oh,
The program
okay.
we used to offer.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'd never heard of them, but I'm beginning to see their
You see their truck around.
their truck and their roll-off, the roll-offs on the in people's driveways and so forth. They're nice. They're not the old beat-up ones. They're all nicely painted. But at any rate, he says he has experience in doing this for HOAs and others, and he can handle if there's money involved, like a ticket or a collection, he has experience with that. So anyway, we were going to meet with him and just find out what his experience is, and if there's anything that's worth pursuing, either for us or for the town or together.
Yeah, that would be great if somebody wanted to do it like we've talked about in the past. If it was a cost offset, Waste Connections provides the service now for $15. But if there was a coordinated event that could reduce that cost by getting a mass collection event, that'd be great. But it would have to, like we talked about in the past, the
Yep.
exchange of trying to track money associated with an address to folks in the field actually doing this is a logistical challenge.
Yeah.
So if there was a firm that could figure that out, that'd be great.
On events, do we have our new banner?
The events banner was with the new name? Is that
Yeah.
what you're referring to? Yes.
Okay.
Katie in the Parks Rec and Open Space Department, who orders banners for us, let me know last month that she ordered one.
Cool. Okay.
The one item that's not on there for the calendar is, well, two items really, but one great one. The group talked about some additional events to host over the course of the year,
Mhm.
and the folks at Boulder County's Household Materials Management maybe read our mind, or maybe read my mind. But they're offering compost workshops. I've gotten flyers for these in the past, and the folks who are hosting them are looking for some new locations to host them this spring.
Ah.
So the county offers compost workshops, and they have some
Cool.
great visuals of worms and food scraps and some really nice loamy earth. These are last fall's workshops, and they are scheduling their spring workshops now. So we will be added to this list
Yay.
for April 26th. Yeah, April 26th from 6 to 8 in the community room at the sports stable.
Awesome.
So I'll include that in the meeting notes. I didn't have that when I sent this agenda to Ezzy to review. I didn't have that information, so I didn't send that to the group. But I'll include that in the meeting notes, or this update notes for this month.
So a question about that. I know in Rock Creek, we're not allowed to have backyard composting piles. Do we need to add a disclaimer to the training about that, or this is theoretical information only?
Well, you can have, small containers.
Like a rotary one or something? Okay,
But
that
you
works.
can't have open piles.
So
Okay,
maybe,
gotcha.
yeah, so maybe we should figure out, like, if we can get the HOA wording for that to put
Yeah,
with
that'd
the
be helpful.
event.
Just
I'll
make
try to
sure
give
that-
you something.
Yeah, and
What's the
just-
timing on this?
April 26th is the workshop.
Yeah, just
So,
so
yeah.
kids know how they can actually take advantage of the.
And where is
Yeah.
the workshop?
Sports
At the sports
stable.
stable in the
Sports
community
stable.
room.
Cool, thanks.
April 26th.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'll send you the link once it's posted. The folks who work in this division for the county haven't had a chance to put their spring list on here, and there you can see there's a register here link where
Mhm.
they, if you click on it, it goes to Eventbrite, so they can get contact information for folks.
Nice.
So that'll be a good item. And then Ashley is taking the lead on reaching out to the folks at Resource Central to host one of the WaterWise workshops this fall.
Thank you.
Excellent.
So
Thanks.
we'll have a spring and a fall,
Nice.
which is good.
So I'll make sure we get a date by next meeting.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay.
So those were the two calendar items that weren't on your agenda. So the two follow-up items that the group had been discussing over the last couple of months for green business recognition and then Energy Smart program promotion. I just had
Okay.
those as kind of holdover items from last month. Both of you had taken some roles
Yeah.
on both of these, and then also Mike had talked, I want to say, was taking the lead on some of the Energy Smart outreach.
So,
Yeah, I know at least Mike reached out to Excel Energy about
Hmm.
the EV charging things, and it sounded like you had some information about
Yeah.
Energy Smart.
so
stuff.
green business, I reached out to Pace, and they're excited that we want to do this as well, and happy to support it. There's a Pace advisor specifically assigned to Superior, Matt somebody.
Hannon?
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, I know it starts with an H. So they have, like, because they've done it with the other towns, they have the back end set up, so they've got the place for tracking everything. They have kind of a delineated, like, roles and responsibilities for, like, what we would do and the chamber would do and what they would do. And like I noted in the email, like, they're changing the way they do tiers, but they do 3 tiers: gold, silver, bronze, and would work with businesses to identify ways to, like, meet those tiers. Either, like, we're already doing it, check the box, or here's how to do it through the different programs Pace offers. So I know we had talked about, is there anything that we want to do different from Louisville and Lafayette? And I know we talked about the, like, doing, like, an online training option for people. So it sounds like we can add to the program that they have set up. So if we wanted to say, like, to get bronze, you have to meet these requirements, and or, you can get a certain number of points towards that by doing, this Superior specific training thing. So I think, so if we wanted to add that on, I don't think it'd be a problem. Do you have comments on that, Lisa?
Nope, I wrote a little update on it, my staff should be reviewing it, and I'll probably have something next meeting.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes, I think it might make sense to think about how, like, how many points that would be worth, or, like, would doing that meet the bronze criteria. So thinking about how that would fit in, but it sounded from what they said like all of their things are set kind of more at a state level, so changing a specific question, like tweaking language on it, wouldn't really be worth anybody's time.
Okay.
They like doing it their way, yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, which, I mean, they do a lot of work to make it happen, so
Yep.
if it's easier for them to have all of us aligned, then I don't see a problem with that. I did look, and, like, Louisville has, and, like, both Louisville and Lafayette, it looks like Pace also helps you, like, set up a website, like, on your town thing with, like, apply here, like, here's the benefits. And so some of them are the same. Louisville says, participate and win prizes at the Green Business Recognition Celebration. But I know we talked about maybe including that in, like, the Count the Lights Christmas thing of, like, recognizing
or
the
Chili
businesses.
Fest. Yeah,
or
like,
Chili
Heather was here
Fest.
last month from
Yeah.
the chamber. She talked about having some recognition at the town's biggest event,
Yeah.
on the stage at Chili Fest would be great.
So, yeah, and so I don't know, like, with Pace, it kind of sounded like to get 2018 recognition, you have to apply by, like, December something, and, they would then say, like, yes, you achieved it for 2018. So I don't know if at Chili Fest, like, we would have like all of the 2018 like businesses yet. Does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
timing?
Yeah, September 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of a 3/4 of the year check-in.
Yeah.
What day?
So,
It's always the second Saturday in September.
so I think what we, like, Chili Fest could be a great time to, like, recognize businesses that are working with PACE or are, like, going through, like, the
Mm,
business
almost like
process.
promotional. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
hey, these
and,
folks
like,
have
there's,
done it, not too
yeah,
late for you.
there's still 3 months to, you know, apply with your business, and then do, like, a recognition at the Count the Lights.
Mhm.
Because we don't have, like, any January events to be, like.
Yeah. Like we're gonna go freeze outside in the cold.
Yeah. So I guess we would just want to think about like how we want to do that recognition, and pricing out like decals and
Mhm.
any other type of promotion we want to do. So, are there any other questions that you want us to ask Pace? I'm hopefully gonna get a meeting set up with him. I'll let everybody know, and
Cool.
we can figure out if other people want to attend as well.
And then Matt and Leah, or the folks from the county, will bring some of the program items that have been successful in other places.
Yep. So what I told him, you know, that I'm happy to meet, and then maybe have them come to our April meeting to talk to the whole committee. So hopefully they will be here at the April meeting. We'll arrange that. And then like if we can get it maybe set up with I don't know how long it takes them to set it up, but maybe by the end of April having it set up, and then businesses could start
Mhm.
like May through December to get the
Yeah, sounds
2018
good.
recognition.
Cool.
So the actual program delivery, is that how does that work? If there's program elements to be recognized and they help set up a web page, is it, who
So-
responds to the folks? Is it a gateway
So-
thing to get to Matt Hannon or somebody else from
Pace,
from
like, so like, the way it is like for Lafayette and Louisville, like it's on their town website, there's like an apply here, and you click that and it takes you to this greenbiztracker.com
Okay.
that Pace manages.
So it's
And
kind of a
then-
pass through to their stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Put the link on it.
Yeah. So then businesses go on, they register their business, they like check through the questionnaire.
So that register will go through PACE.
Is it okay with Pace if we were to say like, you know, supported by the advisory committee for sustainable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And like, I think it was the Daily Camera. They had a small blurb about the like Lafayette program. Like Lafayette recognized this many businesses this year, and had a
Cool,
quote
okay.
from like the chair of their one of us,
Mhm.
whatever they call it in Lafayette,
Yep.
but this committee. So yeah, so they're definitely like, you know, kind of like the Advisory Committee for Environmental Sustainability's Green Business Recognition Program, supported
Awesome.
by PACE.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be
Um,
fantastic.
Yeah. So I will get more details from him on like the actual like, okay, what do we need to do, and you know, who do we need to put in contact with different like liaising for getting the website set up and
Okay.
things like that.
So maybe kind of a placeholder if they can make it next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there, yeah, and so I guess like if there's any questions or things that we want to make sure are covered when I talk to them, I'll definitely bring up the like online training of being able to have something that, you know, figure out if they've done that before and how we could get that to count for points.
Okay. And do you have information on what specific criteria they look at for the different levels of recognition, or would
Yeah.
that be helpful for us to review?
So they have
Also-
6 different audit groups: energy, general, pollution prevention, solid waste, wastewater, and water.
Mhm.
And then within that, there's like subgroups, and everything has a different score associated with it. So in energy, if you get PACE certified in energy efficiency, you get 49 points, which is a lot. But if you obtain an on-site energy efficiency assessment within the last 5 years, you get 2 points.
Okay.
So like just doing the assessment, you'll get a couple points. If you actually get like fully energy efficient, and like you get 2 points for activating the power management settings on computers and printers in the indoor conservation category, but you would get 10 points for using a room automation system to control lighting and heating in guest rooms at a hotel or something.
Nice.
So they have like, I think there's 180 some odd items you can get points for.
Okay, and there's just a number of points that you add up to get to
Yeah.
different levels. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so they said previously it was just kind of like a raw score of like, you know, however many of these, if you get at least 30%, you're
Mhm.
bronze. They're changing it to kind of be like you have to do something in every category to like,
Okay.
like a bronze level across everything.
Mhm.
And then you would qualify to like take the silver assessment, and then
Gotcha.
you would qualify for the gold assessment. So he said they're still finalizing that portion of like trying to make it somewhat equivalent to previous award winners,
Mhm.
but to kind of diversify people's efforts.
Sounds good.
So,
Cool.
So between now and next month, set up a time to kind of meet and go over some of the details, and then invite them to come hopefully to the next month's meeting.
yeah,
And
I
it could
gave
be
them
either
the
Leah
date
or
and
Matt or somebody.
time. Yeah, Zach, somebody is their like overall program manager, and so he was the one I emailed with. Matt would be the person visiting Superior Businesses, and then Leah was also included in that. So hopefully one of the three of them can make it next month.
Oh, that's great. I know they have a broad area to be responsible for,
They
but they're
do.
always so great and responsive when they can. That'd be great. So let us know how that goes, and we'll kind of have a placeholder for next month's meeting, and Jen, when I send
Yeah,
it to you.
and I
Yeah, sounds good.
attached the Excel sheet of all their points
Okay.
values.
Yeah. So,
so
should I pull up that?
yeah,
figure
so
out again on my computer?
yeah,
Cool.
it would not show up well on a tiny screen.
Yeah, that's what I realized. I was like, yeah, I'll just hold off on that.
So it sounds like from their side it'd be pretty straightforward to get it set up, and
Cool. That's awesome.
they're ready to go if we
Woo.
are.
Caitlin, I didn't have a chance to read the email. Thanks for taking the time to type that up.
Yeah. You know, I was like, oh, this is in the 11th hour. Nobody's gonna get to see it.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of things pop
Yeah.
up, and I was like, oh no, I've got to read them.
Yeah,
before the
I
meeting.
know.
But thanks for setting that up.
Could have done it sooner. I don't have anything on Energy Smart.
Martin, do you know if there are any like materials that Energy Smart has that maybe we could share at some of the events or things like that?
Yeah, Energy Smart has some great stuff
Okay.
that we've had. There's probably some dated stuff in that box
Mhm.
from their current programs and some of the stuff that we have in our literature rack out here.
Cool.
Um,
Yes, maybe if we can get some up-to-date literature from them, that'd be awesome. Just
I
to pass
have,
that
I
out.
have been corresponding with Leah Yancey on that, and I'm providing materials for the HOA newsletter and so forth, so we're gonna start putting it out there
Awesome.
too, also.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. It was great to be able to coordinate that. So a lot of the things that you see in our newsletter, there are some great links to materials. I'm going out on a limb. I remember checking the link when we worked on this.
Yeah, I was just thinking if there's stuff we can like print out and have physical copies of at the events too, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Still not clear on this income qualification issue. She didn't really, I asked her about that.
On the
She
grant
didn't-
program? Mm-hmm.
She didn't have an answer.
Yeah, it may be good since we like are featuring the water rebates right now in the newsletter,
Mhm.
to have those forms in the box, and I can check because I think there were a few, but it wasn't the complete form. It was like one page of it.
Perfect.
So I can check on that.
Here's perfect.
So I would guess at Arbor Day we want to have like the water stuff and then energy light bulb
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
So
Cool.
okay.
So for next month, I will have the recycling guidelines and some of the brochures on this year's Energy Smart programs. Well, I'll see what's on their website and probably print off what's on there. And what was the third one that you mentioned, Desi? Was it the water rebates? Great, thanks for doing that. All right, I typed in all my reminders.
I
Is there
have
anything
nothing
else on the,
else.
so if you go to the Energy Smart website, they have some great information on the programs that are offered through the county. Right now, their current program is the IQ grant that's in our newsletter. But over the course of the year, like you've seen, there are other programs.
Excel is also now doing, and I know Michelle mentioned it last month, but I looked into it more. It's like trial programs for changing your pricing structure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like multiple options on that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's interesting.
Michelle, last month
Changing
following,
pricing structure for- changing pricing structure for what?
For your energy bill.
So time of use.
Yeah. So they've got 2 platforms they're testing out that they're taking volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle had a chance to forward a couple of links to me last month, potentially for the newsletter, but she didn't have a chance to come back to it to kind of put it in a newsletter format.
Okay.
So she was going to try and get to that for the April newsletter.
Okay.
Cool. That'd be great.
Okay. Abrupt into the meeting there.
Right,
Is he?
yeah, exactly.
As he apparently
done.
said.
He's done, guys.
Enough.
I didn't have anything else on my list of things that were either on the agenda or that I wrote over here.
The only thing I had is that Mike had mentioned that he's been doing some work on the EV side of things, looking for electric vehicle charging. So I suggested that we put a agenda or a thing on the agenda for next meeting to talk about electric vehicle charging infrastructure.
Okay.
Wasn't it around this time last year we had our dinner with the board? Or when does that happen?
It's happened at different times.
Okay.
Or last couple of years. A couple times it was in the earlier part of the year, a couple times it's later.
Okay.
A scheduled planning commission had their dinner last week, and ProStack, the Parks, Rec, Open Space, and Trails Advisory Committee, has theirs on this coming Monday night, but the next one is not yet scheduled.
Okay.
After that.
Okay.
So it'll be sometime in the
Sometime.
next few months. Not to be overly specific, but
Yeah.
count on it being in the next few
Before the
months.
end
But
of the year.
We don't need too
as soon
many
as we get a
details,
date, I'll let
right?
you know. Yeah. I'm
Sounds
sorry, I
good.
didn't, I guess that was on my January list and I probably didn't verbalize it, but just
Oh, it's
trying
fine.
to cycle through all of the board's agendas to make sure that each of the advisory committees has a chance to sit down with the dinner is sometimes a scheduling challenge, so they get spread out over the course of the first few months of the year.
Yeah.
So it
That sounds
might
good.
be a couple more months.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So I didn't have anything else.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks so much. I'll officially gavel.
We've been dismissed.
Right.
Thanks, Lisa, for
Yeah,
being
thanks, Lisa.
available.
You bet, thanks. Thanks for accommodating.
Of course. Glad you
Yeah,
could
really.
join.
Yeah, I'm heading back at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning here.
Uh-huh.
I'll arrive at 3:30.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Well, safe travels tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's only 2:30 in the morning here.
I know. I was gonna say this is a late night for you.
Yeah, we're looking at time difference, but is it pretty late there? Or early, I guess, now?
Life in the big city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks again.
See you next month.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Okay. Yeah. Once I hear, because he was like, well, I'll get back to you on dates that we could meet. So I'll let
Okay.
everybody know and
Awesome.
see who's able to join, but then hopefully they can come to the April meeting.
Cool. Thanks so much for doing that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like
Yeah, it sounds like a really easy way to get to all the stuff we want to do, which is fantastic. So
Yeah.
Super busy one.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Nice to see you guys. Thanks for coming. Here.
Thanks.
Any new baby pictures for us?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, we gotta see one.
I have tons of baby pictures over here now.
You're still growing like a weed?
Yep.
How old is he now?
4 months. From the other day.
Oh, good. Oh, wow. What a great, that has got to be the happiest baby I've ever seen. Every
Yeah.
time, it seems like
Oh,
every
I
picture
wanna
you
see
have.
Super smiling.
That is a,
Yeah.
that is actually a,
Aw,
that's
that
like,
was so
that's like
sweet.
baby food commercial adorable.
Right, exactly.
That's a
That's
good
good.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Was that video of him playing with his
What is it?
cucumber early today?
Baby smiles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, everybody's, all babies are awesome, but that is a really happy, beautiful baby.
Thanks. Yeah. He's pretty good.
Is he always that happy? Or just when you take his picture?
Well, I guess he's kind of a smiley guy, so.
He's pretty smiley. I mean, it's really not all the time. but
Doesn't always
he's-
work that
yeah,
way.
he's pretty sweet and smiley. So
His general disposition, just in pictures, seems to be really, really
Yeah.
happy.
No, he's
That's
a
awesome.
super awesome baby, and yeah, he's great.
Makes
So-
you wanna have a lot of them now, cause they're so easy and fun.
No, I'm not sure I go that far. Well, now it's kind of like Russian roulette, right? If you have a second one, then you have
Yeah,
no
yeah,
idea
yeah.
what's gonna happen. And,
Yeah, having the easy one first makes you think, oh, this is easy.
Right, no problem. I got that covered.
Some of us
Yeah.
fall into that trap.
Yeah, I'm sure we will eventually, but yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing this picture. That's
Oh,
great.
yeah, anytime.
It's awesome to see babies. Oh, babies are fun.
Yeah.
It's funny to think back when ours were little.
Mhm.
Jim's a grandfather now.
Yeah, that's right.
So he gets to
Yeah.
see babies now.
Oh.
Nice. But no, they're awesome. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
4 months. It's just starting to get fun.
Yeah.
He's gonna start
absolutely.
scooting around a little bit pretty soon.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how to roll over right now. So yeah, that's been fun to see.
Like get a little butt scoot around.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No
So-
stairs. Keep him away from the stairs.
Yep. Yeah, definitely need to do that. So.
Well, thanks for sharing. It's nice to see you
Oh, yeah,
guys.
anytime. Yeah,
Have a
thanks
good
so
rest of
much.
your week.
Yeah, thanks you as well. Okay.
Coyote's coming.
Have a good night.
They are, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few calls.
I've been looking out
I've-
back, you know, in the,
Yeah.
in the community park there, and I just haven't,
I was just talking to some folks that live on Micah Court that have had,
we're seeing, that's where
yeah,
Justin Pennington lives.
they've had one in particular that kept kind of walking down the street in the middle of the
Oh,
day
really?
and they weren't too happy about it, but sounded like it was pretty normal behavior and I was looking at it and drove the street. It's such a pathway,
Yeah.
you know, between open spaces, so. just
Yeah,
kinda
'cause there's so
chatting with
much
them
going
about
on
what's
up there, you know,
going
you have the park on one side of them and then all that construction
Right,
below. I'm a little surprised that would be a,
definitely changes the patterns
Yeah.
sometimes. Coyotes are so adaptable,
huh.
but they hadn't had any issues with it approaching people or pets or anything, so.
Right, I hadn't even heard about at night, and for, we hear them at night almost every night.
Do you still? Cause now we're
But
kinda
I'm not
getting
hearing
out.
them now.
Yeah.
We just noticed the other day. We haven't
Right
heard
now,
them at all.
Mama's pregnant, so it's not quite as territorial. The group won't be. They're usually the loudest from like December, January, February. And then by March, they kind of quiet down.
Was that it?
So the female is already pregnant,
Uh,
and so that kind of jog is over. You know, so she'll
So
be-
the noise is just what, the males fighting or
It's
wooing or?
they just get a little bit more territorial.
Yeah.
As they're like prepping for mating season and during mating season.
So you're hearing the males or the?
You're hearing, well, a little bit, the whole family group
Whole family
will
group.
communicate. That's
Right.
when they'll start, they always hunt singly for the most part, but they'll start kind of walking around together. That's where you see like 2 or 3 of them. And they're kind of showing to dogs or any lone coyotes,
Right.
hey, don't come over here, this is our hibernaculums where they all sleep together, kind of opening up, you know, March, April, end of March, April. By early May, most of the snakes will be
Great.
dispersed.
Yeah.
I still remember that picture you sent from your wife.
Yeah, I know.
Of the snake in the windowsill. His wife works at Key up the top of the hill. There's tons of, you know, there's an incredible amount of snakes in West Acre. And a couple of decided to come up and say hello to Jim's wife.
Yeah. One of
Yeah,
my
they've had-
neighbors last,
they've had
in the
them
summer,
too.
had one wrapped around her water spigot
Mm.
outside, a big old bull snake.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's like, I can't do anything. I can't go outside. You need to, and it stayed there for like a day and a half.
Oh, wow.
Finally, she's like,
Why?
can you just move it?
What would, it was there and the snake said, I'm crawling up here?
I'm not sure, it may have been a warm spot, and I think too, like, her house is right on the corner, but it's like kitty corner to open space.
Mm.
But there's a lot of kids, cause there's a park on the other side of it, so it may have like gotten there, and then there was too much activity, so it kinda hunkered down.
Yeah.
You know.
Waited for an opening.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's got bird feeders too, so yards with bird feeders tend to attract more snakes.
Is it? More birds?
Because of the birds, and if you have nests in your yard, the snakes like to go after the nests. Another neighbor had a great
Huh.
video. They had a bird's nest on top of their playground. You know, one of those like backyard swing
playground.
sets with a little thing. And a bull snake actually climbed up, and she got video of the birds attacking it. He fell out all the way down to the ground, once climbed back up again and got the baby birds.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. But they can be pretty persistent.
So we're seeing more people putting bird feeders up in which we have a problem, HOA doesn't have a problem with it, but more people putting them up in front now.
Hmm. It's always gonna attract the.
I mean, you're gonna attract rodents, you're gonna attract foxes, you're gonna attract raccoons, you're gonna
Right.
attract squirrels, you're gonna attract snakes. Just so people know that, which they don't always know that.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
there's a lot of extra attention.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that may be a fun thing to put in the newsletter or an e-blast. You know, it's bird feeder time, but be aware.
Yeah.
You know, we also too, we've had, and not in Superior, but sometimes you get dog attacks because coyotes will forage under the bird feeders at night.
Mhm.
You know, then you let your dog out for that late night, last pee of the night,
Yeah.
and there's coyotes there if you've got messy bird feeders. But I've had at least 4 or 5 dogs attacked in that situation.
Really?
You know, 'cause the coyotes are really attentive to the bird feeders. Like one of the ones they shot up in a Broomfield, its stomach was full of birds.
Huh.
It's a good domestic, easy access.
Yeah.
Coyotes, raccoons,
Yeah,
snakes.
Skunks.
skunks. And rabies is on the rise.
Yeah,